Megaherzzz.
Megaherzzz.
You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ.
Good afternoon. We are Megaherzzz, the 4ZZZ's feminist and social justice show covering local issues and events and showcasing women and femme-led music. I'm Sisi, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm joined in the studio by
Denise, and my pronouns are she, her.
And we have a very special guest today. Can you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm VJ Harvey. My pronouns are they and she.
Awesome. We're going to have a big chat later in the show. But first, we would like to acknowledge that we are on the stolen land of the Yagara and Turrbal people, who are the sovereign owners of these unceded lands we live and broadcast. We pay our respect to elders past, present, and future, the Yagara, Turrbal, Jagara, Yagarapul and Quandamooka nations, and we stand in solidarity with all First Nations people in the fight for justice. We would also like to extend this respect to violently colonised people everywhere. Palestinians are having a genocide committed against them. This is a feminist issue. We'll be talking about a Gaza fundraiser later in the show. We would like to give a big trigger warning on this next segment. We have made a commitment here on Megaherzzz to report on the men's violence register, which is work done by journalist Sherele Moody. This is extremely tragic and difficult, so if you have sensitive ears, please tune out for the next 5 minutes, practice self-care, look after yourself. Yes, we source our information from Sherele Moody's Femicide Watch, and she has documented 2 deaths this week. Denise will talk about it.
Yes, so basically it was actually a sister and brother, Norma Dutton and her brother Clive, were actually killed by their carer. He deliberately took action in a motor vehicle and they were killed, and he has been charged with manslaughter. Norma and Clive were well-regarded residents of Gympie. They were respected, community-focused and caring humans. Norma's mate and neighbour said, "We couldn't have asked for better. She was just a beautiful lady who was there for everybody." Another friend told the media she was adorable, very loving, a very caring person and very active. So rest in power, Norma Diana Dutton and Clive Millers. There was also Crystal Paul was killed by her husband during the week, and he then killed himself. There's not a lot about Crystal except that Crystal's mum and Crystal's sister are now mum and dad to the daughter that has been left, and they have created a GoFundMe to donate to help so that that the daughter can get, education and looked after, financially secure for her future, to help with schooling moving forward. So yes, if you wanted to look for that GoFundMe on the Red Heart Campaign Facebook page, it would be much appreciated, I'm sure. And
we can put it in the bio of
we can
this
as well. So yeah. And there was another woman killed. There's not a lot of information on that in the Northern Territory. We will report on that next week. But and you had something to talk about as well?
Yeah, so there was this weekend, there was a protest, a Love Against Violence performance art piece that happened on Saturday. That was in the Botanic Gardens, put together by a group of young people protesting the 134 Australian women lost to violence since January 2024. Magandin locals taking action is really important, and good on those who were involved. It's so important that people are taking action and trying to get this into the media in any way possible, because it is so underreported in mainstream media. So keep making noise. Good on you guys.
That's right. Yes.
Are you renting your home and affected by domestic abuse? When you are affected by domestic abuse, you have rights to leave or to stay in the rental property. You are not responsible for damage caused by violence that you have experienced. Call 1300 744 263 for confidential renting advice. Tenants Queensland, 1300 744 263. Proud sponsor of 4ZZZ.
We have VJ Harvey in the studio with us. Thanks so much for joining us on Megaherzzz.
Oh, pleasure, yeah.
So VJ Harvey has something coming out soon, and we'll talk about that later, but you are a super multidisciplinary artist across a lot of forms.
I like to dabble.
Yeah. Can you tell our audience about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm based mostly in Meganjin. I make circus and performance art. I love movement. I'm also a physiotherapist, so yeah, very interested in bodies and the experience of living inside of one. And I also love making music, love sound and storytelling. Yeah.
All the different forms of storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to dig into the music a little bit later on, but can you tell us about your performance through body and movement first?
Yeah, so I love circus and also burlesque, and I have a sex clown character who, she comes out to, make satire about the restrictions that are placed particularly on femme bodies, and circus more broadly it's very expansive medium, and for me it's about the feeling of moving inside this vessel and the feeling of emotions passing through it.
Absolutely.
And because that was sort of fascinating for me, because I first heard you on Transmission with my son Ez. Was interviewing you, and it was really interesting talking about the impact of transition on a body, and even though obviously I noticed his change in his body, I didn't realise how much that then changes how he's got to adapt to that.
Totally.
And I guess, and I'm also fascinated with we sort of think of us as humans as sort of mind people, but we actually, our bodies govern a lot of what happens. But
I don't at all think that way. I think mostly we're bodies, and if we let our minds just quiet, that's when we really start experiencing this place.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think that we're encouraged in our education and everything that it's all about,
definitely. We're
educating the mind,
and
and I think that's a big thing too for women, is that there's so much pressure on regarding bodies, and that's why I really like your Bitch Box song, because I think it highlights that whole the suppression of the female body, and through many forms, in terms of how to look, but also sexually, everything is sort of governed by what society has dictated.
Definitely, and particularly femme bodies, there's a lot of policing about pleasure and desire and what these bodies are allowed to enjoy, but only, to what extent they can enjoy them. It's really comprehensive, the way that we're controlled.
That's right. So you either, if you enjoy it, you're a slut.
That's right.
But and if you're not putting it out, then
you're a prude.
You're a prude, and you're you're going to be cut from the mob.
Yeah.
So it's often quite challenging, I think, for women to navigate that, and I think also for young boys to navigate that.
Yeah,
because,
all people.
Because unfortunately they're not given much help with that either, really. So I really enjoyed the fact that you love that whole body experience, and sort of are prepared to show it to people. But also then it seemed not odd, but that you picked up the music as well, because
wonderful.
I know, but it just seemed sort of, most people do one thing or another. They don't sort of seem to cross across mediums. So I I really admired the fact that you can do that.
Yeah, I love making music because it really is very different. I love writing, and so having that expression for words is really nice. But what I really love is making music to perform to. So Bitchbox was made for a burlesque performance that I did last year.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What was your character to Bitchbox? What were you wearing?
What was I wearing? Well, initially I was wearing a T-shirt that said bitch. And then I ripped that off and I was wearing a collar and a tail, and then later a pop mask.
Oh, yeah, so cool. I think it's really interesting that you have both physiotherapy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm clearly not a science girl. Physiotherapy and circus and burlesque and movement of the body. How do you think that those work together?
It's really exciting for me understanding like my own personal experience through movement, but then having all of that language and all of that knowledge from physiotherapy about movement and bodies. And what I really love is helping other people understand their experience. So I love working with performers. I, as much as possible, make myself open to femme-bodied people, queer people and sex workers as a physiotherapist, because these are all groups which can be quite underserviced and not as understood perhaps in some settings.
And providing a safe space free of judgment is so important.
Yeah.
And knowing that somebody is in your community as well as helping you with the services must be an amazing feeling for them.
Yeah. I
Yes.
really love to do that work. Yeah.
I think that we should head to a song.
Let's do it.
Can you tell us about, or do you want to tell us afterwards?
I can tell you the name.
Yeah.
This is a new song that I recorded last week. It's called Dirt Girl.
He's not dead, but he just floats on by. She's not dead yet, her body is cold underground. Are you falling down, or has the earth come up to meet you? Kiss your pretty face, reaching down to plug the wounds. Hold yourself tight, don't bleed out. Dirt on your face, it's okay. At least there's none on his name. Why is he standing here with blood all on your hands? Just stay quiet. Told you to be quiet. Bloody hands and dirty face. You're a dirt girl now. Can't stay quiet. You're a dirt girl now. Oh, your face is dirty. revolution with bloodshed on your hands on Wednesdays. Only as you fall from grace, no one can stop you now. She can't be put down or the underground. Dirt on your face looks like war paint. You're a dead girl now. Paint revolution with your bloody hands. You're a dead girl now. Fall back into earth. She can't hold you now. Lay back into her. You're a dead girl now.
You're listening to Megaherzzz, and you just heard Dirt Girl by VJ Harvey, the very first time on radio.
First time,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you, thank
Can you
you.
tell us about that track?
Yeah, so a bit different to some of my others. This one is about my experience more as an individual interacting with our legal system about sexual violence, but it's also about, the ecology of being a human, that we are part of the earth and our experience is not separate to that. And if we can release into that, a lot opens up.
Fantastic. And did these lyrics come easy to you, or was this something that you had to keep writing through your processes?
This was originally a song that I wrote last year and recorded and didn't release, and then I rewrote it this year. So yeah, it's it reflects that journey. I think it's yeah.
So you'd obviously experienced sexual violence. Is that what happened to you, or was it? Right.
Yeah, so another trigger warning for listeners out there. But yeah, this song was written as a reflection on the process of reporting a sexual assault and going through months and years of interacting with police and then court systems, and ultimately for me not getting a conviction. But it was, either way, the experience, aside from all the legal processes, socially, there's a huge barrier for people, and especially women. Although I don't know, I've never been not a woman who's experienced sexual violence, so possibly all people. But there's a huge barrier to overcome before you even start reporting, and a lot of the time it costs you a lot of social ease, and depending on your situation it can make you subject to more violence. Yeah.
And my understanding is too that because it takes such a long time, you're constantly having to go back to that trauma and back to that, back into that space. So it's not like you can heal and put it away and sort of, hopefully heal from it. You never forget, but hopefully. But when it's so convoluted and so, it's my understanding it's really not very friendly at all for the person that's the victim.
No. Yeah.
And that makes it really challenging.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
Not an easy thing to talk about on air. So do you find healing through your different forms of art?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music, this song was particularly cathartic, and it reflects as well my my experience with that particular hurt, and at the end talking about relationship with Earth relationship with country. That's probably the biggest healer for me. But all of the different mediums that I work with allow me to explore a lot of different emotion and different experience in different ways, which I love.
Oddball here, but is there a favourite place that you enjoy reconnecting with the earth? Is there a spot that you have?
So my mum has some land out near Toowoomba, and there's a bunya tree. It's only a seedling really, but it was gifted to me by a friend a couple of years ago at Woodford Folk Festival. So this little seedling came home with me, and I planted this tree between the two other bunya pines, which have my grandmother's ashes and my great-grandmother's ashes. So cool. Yeah, lying in that grove of trees is pretty surreal.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, really wonderful.
Bunyas are extremely prolific growers, so I assume that every time you'd go there it'd be a bit bigger than the last,
a little
right?
bit bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're really special trees, really ancient, and so much history and wisdom, especially this part of the country. Yeah,
absolutely.
They're a very important part for the First Nations people in this area, that's for sure.
Yeah. Still very important. There's Bunya Festival every year. Yeah, up on Gubbi Gubbi country. Yeah.
Beautiful. Should we head to another track?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to tell us about Colony 4? Or
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. So this is the first single that I released last year. It's about this colony that we're living in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Does it need a language warning?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Language warning.
The children are in prison because Big Daddy likes to start them young. They're watching you back. Their time will come. Welcome home. The young aren't free. Our daddy keeps the peace. Rapists play in the street while the children are in prison. School's out because they'll just go back in. Small bodies, big house, boundless plans to share. They're watching you back. Their time will come. Nation built on incarceration. He protects our great land. Good scam, rebrand. Kids to inmates, bodies to cram. Your children are in prison now, but they're watching you back. Their time will come.
Hey, what's going on here?
Welcome to the colony.
We got kids on medication so they don't kill themselves. They can't afford the shit we sell on supermarket shelves. They're running out of food because we run the rivers dry. Drilling through our mother, it's a shame we can't eat iron. Cover up the genocide with cheap red bricks. But we are good at footy, gonna host the Olympics. Good luck finding housing because the boomers bought it all too. Leave it sitting empty, we're not building more because we spent all that money subsidising fossil fuels and then the rest on the fence. Lest we forget, it's only been 200 years, we're back like where we started. Conflicts selling groceries, guess home's where the heart is. Prison doesn't work, but we'll tell you that it does because it's making us fucking billions. Don't ask questions, don't be sad, take 2 of these every morning. Don't ask questions, don't be sad, take 2 of these every morning. Choose life. Welcome to the colony where we can all be free unless we're black or poor or a refugee. Our First Nations people are the most incarcerated group of people on the planet. It's 2024 and we still haven't done what we said we would. Back in 1991, a royal commission to black deaths inside is an oxymoron, a 6 satire. Sovereignty of these lands cannot coexist with the sovereignty of the crown. Welcome to the colony. Just sit back and relax as we get on with our colonial business. We're gonna lower the age of incarceration. Stop taking the piss, that does not benefit you. We got a special visa to in-prison refugees. We are not free until we are all free. Genocide in Gaza is not a problem. Don't listen. I'm not daddy's little girl, my body's not your meat. Will not be complicit as they fabricate defeat. The leaders of the future are the ones you try to hide. It's a shame the human spirit just will not fucking die. Your children in prison, your children in prison, your children in prison, your children in prison. This time will be
You just heard Colony 4 by VJ Harvey. Can you tell us about Colony 4, please?
Yeah, so I wrote this last year in response to the beginning of the process to lower the age for adult sentencing for youth crime. And unfortunately, it hasn't aged well. We're seeing, that our lawmakers are further reducing that. I think the current slogan is adult crime, adult time. This process is particularly offensive and insensitive and just represents all of the ways that, our colonial government really harms people and how that harm is disproportionately faced by First Nations people and young people. And so, as citizens, I think it's really easy to get a little bit overwhelmed, feel like, that this stuff, this encroaching, fascist drift of our current government, that there's nothing we can do about it. But I think that the most important thing we can do is continue talking about things, continue engaging with community, with your community, and being really conscious and using your vote to, we can't control these things, but being aware of what sort of policies your vote might be supporting.
Absolutely, and I'm quite sure I've not got the statistic in front of me, the research in front of me, but that the UN criticised adult time, adult crime as a I'm not sure what it was, but it has been criticised as being a terrible policy that is impeding on human rights, which is obvious, but.
And I think as well, at this point in time, living in so-called Australia, we perhaps people might feel like we have a lot of really good things going and a lot of really good legal systems, but these are not very fixed, and it's really easy for the things that are really positive to be sort of taken away from underneath us if we're not aware of what's happening. And I think we can see that in current politics.
Absolutely.
Although the last
the federal election pretty amazing.
Yeah, showed that perhaps the broader population is not as unaware.
Well, it's just sort of it always amazes me that how people can be so cruel and also thoughtless, because it's all well and good to think, I can do this, so why can't someone else do this? You know what I mean? Like it's sort of this arrogance that everybody's got to be able to do what you can do, but not everybody can. You know what I mean? Like some people come from very broken backgrounds and which impedes on their ability to function in this crazy human society that we've created.
Yeah,
and yet we can be really cruel and dismissive about it and go, just pull up your socks and get on with it. That sort of attitude, whereas some people need a lot of help.
Yeah, and there's something in there about if you have enough privilege to be within your own bubble, it means you can sort of ignore these issues. It's also really easy, we live in a state of overwhelm and information overload all the time. And so I think it's really hard as individuals to stay present in what is relevant information, and again, interacting with your community, talking with community, supporting community radio, getting out, talking to people at protests and whatever other community events is really the best way to, gain knowledge without being overwhelmed.
So why is it important to you to make music and make art that's political?
Yeah, art is about sharing knowledge, and knowledge is not human knowledge has been institutionalized, but it's not really about that. It's relational, and the more that we can get out and listen to each other's stories and tell stories, that's where the possibility of change begins.
Absolutely.
That's right, and being prepared to talk out and being active in, as you said, in community radio and writing letters to politicians, all that sort of stuff. It does. Well, it may not make change in a hurry, but it will over time, so long as there's enough momentum for that.
Keep up the momentum.
That's it. That's it.
Can you tell us what you have coming up so our audience can come see you?
Yeah. So probably sometime in the next month, that single Dirt Girl will be up on streaming platforms and Bandcamp. That was a premiere here. And then if you want to see my body doing performance, you can do that at Galore. That's a local event, punk, circus, filth, trash. It's really, really great. Independent local arts. Is at EC venue, Fortitude Valley, and I do believe they do a 4ZZZ subscriber discount, and if they don't, I've just said that they do.
We'll embarrass them.
They've got to hold you to it.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And then the first 2 weekends of July, Volcana Circus are hosting cabarets. And I'll be doing aerials one of those 2 weekends. We don't know which yet, but yeah. Special shout out to that wonderful place. Really important community space that supports so much art making and storytelling, and just a really safe space for women and people of gender minority to be in their body and do something that is fun and creative and liberating, and makes them healthier and stronger. And I love it. I can't say enough good stuff about Volcana. They've just finished a fundraising drive, but you can still donate to their next big project, which is Body Code. It's a community performance project working with artists with lived experience of disability and AI researchers at QUT. And they're doing shows in November, which are going to be really wonderful.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, we can link that in our show notes as well, of course. And how can people find you if they want to look at your Instagram or... Yeah,
so they can look at my Instagram, which is VJ_Harvey. They have to type exactly that because I'm shadow banned.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of event stuff happens on Meta, so I'm still there. But otherwise, if they want to listen to my music, VJ Harvey on Bandcamp, VJ Harvey on Spotify, Apple Music. Yeah.
Yay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you coming in to be interviewed today, and all of the stuff you do is so cool.
Oh, such a joy to talk.
It.
Yeah, thank you.
And that song, Dirt Girl, go listen to it. It should be in our 4ZZZ system very soon, so hopefully you'll hear it on the radio plenty over the next couple of months. Thank you so much for joining us.
An honour, thank you.
And we're just going to quickly do a couple of things. A MegaSportzzz segment. I just wanted to mention about Daria Kasatkina, who's ranked 17 in the tennis, is in the French Open, the round of 16, playing tonight. Now, she's interesting because she was born in Russia, but she's now playing for Australia. And this highlights the fact that for these athletes where they live in these countries where it's challenging to be an activist. So she was very vocal about criticising the Russia-Ukraine war, which put her at odds with the authorities in the country of her birth. So she has chosen Australia as a place that she thinks can be safe, freedom and a welcoming environment in a new home. So watch her tonight. She's ranked 17. She's playing Andreeva, who's ranked 6 tonight. The final thing I want to talk about is we do have another Oxfam Gaza emergency appeal trivia on this Saturday, 7th of June, at the Junction Hotel at Annerley, 6 p.m. for a 6:15 start for the questions. Do come along. We raise quite a bit of money for that, and as we know, it's actually a horrific situation in Gaza at the moment, so all money that we can raise is very, very important. And that's it. We'll head out. We'll have those up on the Facebook page as well, on our socials, that you can get tickets and come along.
Isn't that what feminism is about?